In the beginning, there was a bang, a puff, and a rather loud cosmic oops. The universe spilled out stars like a clumsy waiter with a tray of flaming hot marbles. Somewhere in that chaos, nestled comfortably in one very average solar system, were two planets that got weirdly lucky. Earth, of course, became the mess we lovingly call home. But next door, Veneria, an entirely made-up but totally plausible neighboring planet, was doing something equally bizarre. It was alive. Yes, life didn't just crawl out of Earth's oceans gasping and asking for a Wi-Fi password. It also bloomed on Veneria, a planet that orbited just a little further from the sun, wore thick clouds like a feather boa, and had a strong opinion about gravity, namely that it should be 20% sassier. Evolution on Earth took the usual scenic route: amoebas, fish, lizards, dinosaurs, tax accountants. Veneria, meanwhile, evolved its own wild trajectory. Crystalline creatures powered by magnetism, sentient trees with excellent posture, and jelly-bodied philosophers who could smell sarcasm. For billions of years, the two worlds spun in silence, unaware of each other, like cosmic neighbors separated by a really awkward fence. Until one day, a Venerian scientist named Zerflap IV aimed their atmosphere-piercing telescope at Earth and saw us, hurling metal tubes into space, blowing up our own satellites, holding entire debates about whether a hot dog is a sandwich. Veneria was fascinated, so they sent a polite message. "Hello, Earth. We noticed you're confused. Need help?" Earth, in true Earth fashion, responded by accidentally interpreting the signal as a declaration of war, launching a rocket, and then realizing it was aimed at the moon. Once the confusion settled, and apologies were exchanged, with a heartfelt mixtape of whale sounds and TikTok trends, the two planets finally connected, and the universe changed. Schools across Earth were rewritten. History books now had chapters like the Venerian Enlightenment, the Great Interplanetary Bake-Off, and why you shouldn't challenge a plasma being to chess. Venerian technology revolutionized our world overnight. Forget Wi-Fi. We now had SkyThought TM, a consciousness-based internet that let you download memories directly into your brain, with the unfortunate side effect of accidentally dreaming in 6 dimensions. Medicine soared, disease dropped, poverty plummeted. Mosquitoes were politely asked to leave the biosphere, and surprisingly, they complied. But life wasn't all interplanetary harmony. Some humans were skeptical. "What if they're here to take our jobs?" shouted one protester, ironically using a Venerian translator headset to complain more efficiently. Others accused Venerian culture of ruining traditional Earth values, like yelling at your GPS or microwaving pizza at 2 a.m. Meanwhile, Veneria had its own traumas. Some of their citizens were baffled by human behavior. Why do they wear ties? Why do they invent so many flavors of toothpaste? Why do they clap when a plane lands? A cultural exchange was proposed. Humans would visit Veneria, Venerians would visit Earth. The results? Mixed. One Earth tourist tried to swim in a Venerian gravity pool and immediately launched himself into the upper atmosphere. A Venerian guest in New York City mistook a Times Square billboard for a religious deity and spent 3 hours worshiping an ad for foot cream. Still, connections deepened. Interplanetary dating apps launched, with questionable results. The first Venerian Earth sitcom aired, 2 Planets, 1 Fridge. A band formed called the Orbital Misfits, combining electric banjo with symphonic plasma harp. But most importantly, human perspective changed. We were no longer the lonely miracle of the universe. We were one of 2, and maybe not even the weirdest one. Wars started to shrink. Nations began cooperating not out of kindness, but out of sheer embarrassment that Veneria was watching. Space exploration accelerated. Mars got colonized purely out of peer pressure. Earth began sending kids to interplanetary summer camps where they learned Venerian history, plasma etiquette, and how not to insult someone with 5 mouths. As generations passed, Earth and Veneria became inseparable, not in a political sense, but in the way siblings do when they finally accepted that they're both hopelessly strange and still deserve cake. So the question isn't just, what if life had evolved on a neighboring planet too? The real question is, why did we ever think we were the only ones in on the joke? Because in the end, two planets laughing together, loudly, awkwardly, and across the vast silence of space, might just be the best thing the universe ever cooked up.